We have a certificate. We have a certificate. We passed. Once upon a time, a city girl named Felicity and a city boy named Peter bought an abandoned 1830s farmhouse in New York. And today, Saturday, January 4th, 2025, very exciting. Great news. So, as you guys know, if you've been following the channel, when we last left this project, Peter and I were feeling incredibly disappointed and crushed. We did not make our certificate of occupancy inspection on December 30th, as was the plan, and we didn't know when we were going to be able to reschedule the inspection because the work had slowed down. And so we just took a break basically and let James get on with it at whatever pace he was able to get on with it, and didn't really do much to push it ahead. And then James called us on Friday, the day before this footage, and told us that the inspector had come, the same inspector who did the building permits and some of the electrical stuff, that the inspector had come, and not only had we passed the plumbing inspection, but we had passed the certificate of occupancy inspection. So that means that this is a legally habitable dwelling. It is no longer a construction site, which means that we could, in theory, move in. Now, in practice, we're not going to move in because, to quote my mother, when I texted her and told her that we had passed, she said, based on the pictures you recently sent me, I would call that camping. And she's not wrong. Even though we have heat and water and all of those things, there is still finishing work that needs to be done, and there's still doors and windows that need to be done. So we won't be moving in right away. We've decided to have those things done before we move in, so that once we're in, right? We're not having a bunch of work going on around us and things like that. But you guys, we got the certificate. Well, I mean, in theory, we got the certificate. It's not actually a certificate like you would get, the cute little borders and stuff like that, but we should be getting paperwork in the mail that says that we passed. Two last housekeeping things before we dive into the updates today. First of all, thank you to everybody who encouraged us and supported us in the last video. That is undoubtedly the low point that we have hit on this project so far, and I really want to thank all of you for reaching out. The other thing is that a couple of you asked if there was a way to help on the financial front. I had mentioned that this extended delay is really impacting our budget, so I have gone ahead and put together a Buy Me a Coffee page. It's basically a way to donate for free. I don't drink coffee, so as I explained on the little blurby thing on the page, if you feel so inclined to give a one-time donation to support the work that we're doing on this house and to help us kind of bridge the financial gap of paying both a mortgage and a rent at the same time, I will put that link in the video description. It is by no means obligatory. I know a lot of you are like me and you're on very tight budgets and you do this as a form of escapism, and that's totally fine. But since a couple of you did ask if there was a way to do that, I wanted to make that available to you. So with that said, let's dive into the video. There are updates on the bathroom, there are updates on the kitchen, there are updates on the plumbing in the basement, and then there's also some updates in the upstairs. So let's start with the bathroom. So the bathroom is where some of the biggest changes have come in. James is just painting the walls. This is the lilac color that we've selected. I really like it. That's what I would call like a solid purple, and this is lilac, but it's not too far different. The shower is in, all in, not just the base, but the walls and everything. Is that fantastic? And the sink, let me see if I can step in here without stepping on anything I shouldn't. The sink is all installed. Taps and all the fancy stuff. Smells like fresh paint. And then the door, the sliding barn door that will be going over here, is here. Basil is the name of the color swatch. So that's going to be that with the lilac. I really like that. It's dark enough to not be in your face, but it's not so dark to soak up the light. So you can see behind there, that's the green of the outside. They're not the same color, but they're close enough that it doesn't look too wonky. I had a thought, and you guys can tell me about this. Right now, I think the door being green is great. Eventually, I would like to have a mural on here, so flowers or something. I think it'd be really fun. I don't have any artistic expertise, and I don't have any painting expertise, but I'm happy to do and learn of both. But I would definitely have to be either a stencil or somebody would have to draw in a paint by numbers sort of thing if I were going to do it. But I think that would be super cool to eventually have some sort of floral decoration on the door, especially with the green background, right? Can you imagine like white daisies or sunflowers or zinnias? I mean, you could paint all kinds of fun things on here. This is the other part of the barn door. This is where the barn door will actually hang, and then they put a stop in here, both to stop the door from continuing forward and also because there was a gap. So if you walked this way, there was an angle because the door hangs in front of the wall, right? And can't get over this lilac. Oh, I love it. Okay, I'm over it, really. For one thing, the stuff that's in the middle of the floor is no longer in the middle of the floor. And here is what our counter is going to look like. So the dishwasher is not yet installed under the counter, but it will be. And here is the new farmhouse sink. This is the sink that Peter's mother graciously helped us acquire with the new cabinet and the new counters. And then the stove finally in situ, which my parents helped us acquire, along with the garbage disposal. Also a gift from my parents. And then up on the ceiling, they've put the trim up all the way along the top. So you can see that all the way around. Trying not to get Louie in the shot here. It's not quite as long on this side as the border underneath it. So I suppose we'll do something about that in the future, but it looks a great deal better than it did. And it smells like spackle in here. This is what Louie is working on today. He is filling in the joint all around this piece of drywall. If you guys will remember, there was an old heater grate in there that we had to take out, and then we took off all the bricks that were on the wall as well and put in a whole new piece of drywall. And so that has to be joined up with the wall. So they've also been doing some work up here in the master. They have patched the wall that we had to take apart to get the electric in. So it's going to look this way for a while, which is not the super sexiest, but we need to decide if we're going to try to paint it to match the color of the wallpaper, or if we're going to redo the whole room entirely, because we also have to figure out what to do with these strips. This is where the old radiators were on. And of course, now that the radiators are off, you can see that this paint doesn't go all the way down either. So all the way around the bottom, basically, we need to figure out if we're going to try to match the paint color or if we want to just repaint the whole thing going forward. But that is a conversation for another day. So one of the other things we needed for a certificate of occupancy, the existing railing that was here was structurally sound, but not tall enough to be up to code. It was probably about up to here, which just wasn't tall enough. So this is a brand new banister. If they're going to paint it, they'll paint it that basil downstairs. And if they leave it for us, then I might see if I can color match with the existing color up here and get it the same green. Hooray, not falling down the stairs. They also put the doorknob on the door going to the basement, which is exciting. There's definitely something of a temperature change, although James told us that he's put in a heating unit down here. It still smells like basement. Probably always will smell like a basement. Oh, yeah. Oh, there we go. James said this is an 8,000 BTU heater because we didn't have any mini splits installed in the basement. And then it turns out that once that got sorted, it was just a little bit chilly down here. So this is an electric one. It's set on its own thermostat. You can see it's set to 52, so it's not particularly warm. I'm walking around in a sweatshirt and I'm not immediately cold. I would be chilly down here eventually, but at the moment it's pretty doable. You can see that they've been working on some of the plumbing. So this is all brand new. So last time we were here, pipe was across here. So now it's going up this way and it's coming up here. So there's a pipe that goes up here, which I believe is to the toilet. And then there's some piping here, which comes in, I believe that's the shower. And then this is the piping that comes in from the kitchen because this is the kitchen extension. So that's the sink coming in there. So that is all coming together. Oh, this is new since the last time I was in here as well. They've put a whole chunk of cement in here. I don't know if you guys will remember, but we had a lot of trouble with wildlife coming in through the rotted boards down here. So we finally gone ahead and put in cement. We're still working on the water filter. The water here has a lot of limestone in it and a lot of sulfur in it. So it's hard water, and we also need to get the sulfur out because the sulfur will A, smell bad, and B, stain toilets and clothes and things like that. And we don't really want it staining that. So we need a filtration and a water softener all in one. So that is still going in, but it's good to see all the parts together. So James was just down here explaining how this is going to work. So this filtration system here, this is the first one. This is your bigger particles, clay, iron, that kind of stuff. And then this little guy here, this is your fine particle. So that's like the sulfur and other minerals and things like that. These are the two filters here in their boxes. And then the filter itself is here and small one. These need to be replaced every 3 months, but they're pretty easy. You just apparently slide them out, chuck them in the trash, and put a new one in. We're very, very lucky out of all of the systems that needed to be replaced, because we replaced just about everything, right? New septic, new electric, new plumbing. The well actually was serviced about 10 years ago when Peter was calling around to find people to come out and test it. He actually found the company by accident who had come out and repaired it about 10 years ago. So happily for us, the well is the one piece of infrastructure that was working well and is still working well. So James is hoping to get this done by end of day today. Getting the plumbing in and tested is the next big project on the bank payout schedule. And so now that we have the certificate of occupancy inspection passed, we are looking at getting, of course, all the water up and running. And then the very last thing will be windows and doors. The plan going forward is that we think it will take about a week to get the plumbing system finished, get the filtration system in, get it inspected. So we want to run all of the taps and just make sure that everything is ship-shape. Apparently they don't do that when they come and they do the inspection. They just kind of take a look at things and make sure the pipes look okay and stuff like that. So we definitely want to turn the water on and run all the taps and run all the appliances and make sure that everything is ship-shape. So we think that's going to take about a week. And then we think it will take about 2 weeks for the windows and doors. So that puts us pretty close to the end of January. Now, my birthday is the end of January. So I'm cautiously hopeful, especially after the last crushing blow. I hate to get too optimistic, but I would super love to celebrate my birthday, which is the 28th of January. I would absolutely love to celebrate my birthday by moving into this house. So keep your guys' fingers crossed for us, and appreciate, as always, your well wishes and your thoughts. I have been so blessed with the community that has watched these videos, and I want to thank you all for your advice and support. It's hard to imagine this journey without you. So that's it for today. Thank you very much. Stay tuned for the next update, and I will see you soon. Bye for now.